Dear PWIs, business as usual. Dear predominantly white institutions, aka PWIs, thank you for the opportunity to attend your school. I mean, thank you for employing me at your private nonprofit entity. Unpaid and unrelenting, I know I will be an asset to your educational institution. I hope to be in partnership with you, not indebted to you. To get to this point, I have worked to be great, not an ingrate. Before I even accepted your offer, I had to and will continue to do cost benefit analysis. The cultural capital acquired in these college preps may not be worth the psychological payments for an expensive portfolio of stock, diversity photos, macroaggressions, and other hidden fees. I must also see notes on the conflation of bonding and bondage. I mean, we all know who ultimately benefits from my value and my victimization. It's just business as usual. If you don't think our relationship is transactional, then riddle me this. How are these private schools investing in the protection and prosperity of black and brown pupils? And I'm not just talking sports scholarships until they get injured. I will gladly put my money where my mouth is. Now, let's be clear. Meritocracy is a myth. While I did work hard to get where I am, I know that politics, policies, and pruning were a part of my placement. I recognize that wealthy faces in high places need a black token, a black sheep, or a black scapegoat for the public perception, performative allyship, and perpetuation of prejudice in these prestigious private schools. What exactly will this preparatory prepare me for? What am I prepared to do in the name of this private institution? How am I being prepared to stay and play in my place? If you let the admin and alumni tell it, I owe this great institution for their academic resources. I mean, if you let me tell it, I would state that this institution consciously or subconsciously wants to own me, my likeness, my blackness, my busyness, my happiness. And from a young age, I, in this black body, learned that I own nothing, not even the name on the back of the jersey. And as for my spirit, there is a vested interest in stealing that from me. Moreover, I know I am owed nothing, not even my humanity. Now, of course, admissions offices will stick out stats about recruitment, not retention. Of course, pie charts about demographics will be presented in PowerPoints. Meanwhile, students of color will never see a piece of the pie. And of course, these schools will admit students of color, not their issues of white fragility and white supremacy. While these schools try to secure black and brown pupils, I look into the eyes of white leadership and see insecurity, indifference. And I have seen some of the most intellectually rich people churned out by poor systems. You know, as long as the company meets its bottom line, it is what it is, and that's real. And to be even more clear, I ain't no victim or freeloader. I have a choice to stay or to go. Regardless, I'm willing to work for mines. I've always had to. Having never really been comfortable in these precarious school environments, in this world for that matter, I have to cooperate, more like coexist, and compete with others and myself. I am operating within a complex social political crucible. I am forged by fire and threatened by the prospect of blending in and so losing my individuality, my blackness, and my sense of self in a white melting pot. I can't say I'm better because of it. I just adapt and evolve. And don't worry, I will never bite the hand that feeds me because I will never eat from those hands. And you will never see these callous black hands carry plates to feed the bottomless bellies of the bougie benefactors, aka the grandchildren of white donors whose names are bigger on the checks than those of the recipient. And yes, I have seen brown students carrying brown boxes in high school mailrooms during study halls when they are supposed to be studying, of all things. thought, buddy, but this is America. There's no such thing as a predominantly white institution. We're all Americans. We're all God's people. Now, this mess you're talking about feeling indebted or the institution owing you, well, if you go and work there, you got to contribute. It's a trade off, it's an exchange. You give your time, they give you money. That's how it's always been. That's the great system of capitalism. What's the big deal, buddy? You either get with it or leave. It's not that hard. Gosh, all you guys do is complain. All you do is want and want and want. Wow, whatever happened to just working hard and then reaping the benefits? Nowadays, everybody just wants to not do any working and get all the benefits. And this is why we need to make America great again, because of people like you. And that's just a white thought, buddy. Forget your black thoughts. Truth. Where there's debt, perceived or planned, there's exploitation for sure. Where there's power and privilege, not to mention deep pockets, there is malpractice and marginalization. The owning class maximizes profits by cutting costs and or cheapening labor. How much can and will an institution make off my hard work, sweat, and tears? Have you seen how these institutions work? I mean, have you ever seen an institution cry before? Now, wait. All I'm saying is that we have to be honest about the state of affairs and implications of attending these schools. I stand before you as a graduate of a private school and a dual degree holder from a private university, Leland Stanford Junior University to be exact. And before you say I made it, ask yourself, what have I been made into? Man, spare me the lecture or the studies on student resilience when these institutions can bounce back and even benefit from scandal after scandal after scandal without any real retribution. Growing up, I once saw a white kid get caught with a white substance by a top school administrator on school grounds, and the kid returned to campus the next day with a smile and a sick story to tell. The white kid was green and out of pocket, like his parents, who generously donated each year, earning them a shiny plaque that will always remind me of my market value. So don't talk to me about grit when I have seen graft. I repeat, before you say I made it, ask yourself, what have I been made into? A somewhat self hating black man who thinks of himself as a part of the talented 10th, when really he may be an unknowing undercover agent of anti blackness. I mean, I was educated in their schools. Whew, too ugly to fathom, right? I'm too articulate to be so abominable, right? Life in the margins is further magnified when you are made into a white solution for the alleged Negro problem in our American school system. And now I sit on the other side of those desks as a teacher in a private school. Call me complicit, but never complacent. Being here at a PWI yet again means returning to that insidious state of discomfort. I just laugh when asked about stepping out of my comfort zone, more like stepping out of my mind and body suspended in a state of double consciousness. After spending my early career teaching in fairly diverse low income schools, I'm partially here because of bills and familiarity. I have lived, learned, languished, and lasted in these environments. Consequently, I'm no saint, savior, or shepherd. I may even be a hypocrite for accepting checks from a corporation we call a college prep. They say if you build it, they will come. People who look like me built these very edifices and now lay under them. People with brown skin clean the hallways just to be treated dirty. If you want to read the rest of this letter, entitled Dear Predominantly White Institutions, Business as Usual, visit justblackthoughts.com. And these are just my thoughts in black. Peace.